Sellen! Long time no see. I just wanted to drop by and ask about this dagger you gave me.
Existence is pain.
Oh, you're funny. No, I think it's ridiculously good.
All I know is agony.
Huh, you really think I should go test it?
Please kill me.
Okay, yeah, good idea. I will go kill everything with it. Hello then, my fellow Tarnish! Today I eat my words. And she will give you a magical scaling dagger, which is kind of a dagger, really. Because back then, none of us knew just how good firing a little bit of glintstone from a little bit of dagger would actually be. This Ash of War that is bound to this weapon is honestly fantastic. And it has a little hidden bit of zip, quite literally, that makes it an absolute blast. Now, this is both the little and big brother of a generic Ash of War, the Glintstone Pebble that you can buy from RageGamingVideos. This we've covered before, and I'm sure you've seen it. It's quite popular in PvP. It has monstrous stagger damage on the initial Pebble on top of good damage, which means if you get hit by the Pebble, you are going to get hit by the follow-up heavy dash attack, and then you're probably gonna die. It's really strong and really dangerous and a lot of fun to use. But I've always seen that, yes, on this, the Glintstone Kris, there is Glintstone Dart, which is like Pebble but different. It can be charged first and foremost, which is incredible because it allows us to use something like Godfrey's Icon from the Everjail in Altus to increase the damage of both the actual blast and the dash forward by 15%. However, that's not the only difference here. Firstly, it does way more damage than the Glintstone Pebble when you do charge it, and that is very appreciable. But two, look at the distance that you travel while using the Glintstone Pebble. You fire it, and then you dash basically the same distance the Pebble traveled, which in this case is almost crossing this corridor. However, the Glintstone Kris, you fire the Pebble, and then you dash. Look at that! Is that not awesome? You go so much further, and you get there like lightning. You know how often this catches people out? It's longer than the Pebble itself, and people are used to the normal Pebble, not the Kris version. So yes, while the Kris version does less damage uncharged, and takes a little bit longer to happen, the fact that you have the option to charge it for absolutely ludicrous damage, and it's still pretty quick, let's be honest here, and then do this supersonic, massive range, almost teleport stab, which also hits like a truck. Oh, it is glorious. And honestly, I have not had this much fun with a weapon in a while. There's no doubt in my mind this is the best dagger in the game, if we ignore, like, Reduvia, the Bleed Dagger, because Bleed is really overpowered. But ignoring that, there is no doubt in my mind this is the best dagger in the game. So of course, with this knowledge of how it fully functions, I had to make it great. And how did I go about making it great? Well, first and foremost, of course, we have the Glintstone Kris. It ends up with a C in Int and a C in Dex. Int is the only stat that matters when it comes to the actual Pebble. Dex matters more when it comes to the stab. You can either go for a balance or just pure Int. I went pure Int with a little bit of Dex left over. That seemed to work out well for me. But yeah, there we have it. I also have a Glintstone Staff in my other hand. Obviously, you can add in random spells for a more, well-rounded build here, but chiefly this is for Terra Magica, the zone on the ground that gives you an extra 35% magic damage, as this is a magic damage Ash of War, and it's ranged, so we can actually stand in it quite comfortably and do damage. That's a big deal. And you might think, but what about the dash, where you obviously have to leave the zone to stab? Well, the 35% magic damage boost lingers and lasts for a second and a half after leaving the zone, which is more than long enough to get the stab in. Then we have the RageGamingVideos Battle Mage set. Each piece of this gives 2% extra damage to magic-based Ashes of War. of which this, of course, is, so wearing it all for a good 8%. Talismans-wise, I like to add the Dragon Crest whenever I use Roger's set, because it's such a light set, and this brings you back up to kind of normal damage absorption, otherwise you get absolutely dunked if you do get hit. And then damage boosting-wise, as I said, the Godfrey icon's there, but then, of course, Alexander from the Alexander questline for an extra 15% damage on the skill, and then the Magic Scorpion from the Saluvis questline for an extra 12% magic damage, which, yes, of course, affects the skill. In our Wondrous Physic, then, you've got a couple choices. Obviously, magic damage plus 20%, that one is easy, but then you can either go for the more damage as you rapidly attack tier from the Erd Tree and the Consecrated Snowfield, because you've got a dagger, and obviously the range is garbage awful, but people really underestimate just how fast you can pump out a lot of damage with a little dagger like this, and so often, especially in invasions in PvP, it really catches people off guard. And even against bosses, when you get a little bit moment to just slash, yeah, it really works out, and you stack up this damage bonus a lot. But the thing is, it's a global damage bonus, so it affects the Pebble that you can then follow up with after a bit of attacks. Or you can go for the increased stagger poise damage, because like its, well, similar cousin in Glintstone Pebble, the Glintstone Dart also has massive stagger damage. Though it is at this point I do need to specify something. Glintstone Pebble hits with so much stagger that the follow-up is guaranteed. The enemy cannot roll in time before being hit. However, in the Glintstone Kris, Glintstone Dart case, that's not so. It's still got a lot of good stagger on it, more than it rightly should for such a little ditty Dart of Glintstone, but it has less enough that people can roll out of it. The bottom line here is against bosses and clearing levels and stuff, the Glintstone Kris is just superior to the Ash of War. It does more damage, the extra range on the stab is massive, and generally you just have a much easier time using it. You don't really need it to stagger that hard and guarantee the follow-up hit, and it still staggers really hard and enough for, well, those PvE situations. In PvP, it's pretty much a side grade. You lose the guaranteed follow-up, but what you gain is two key factors. Number one, because you can charge it, you can vary up what you do. You can either fire it straight away, and then if somebody's timing their roll for a charge, they will misroll and you'll catch them, or you can make people think you're going to fire it straight away, but actually charge it, they roll too early, and then you catch them. And both charged and uncharged, it does enough damage that landing one of them, I mean, you've won the fight anyway. You've got such an overwhelming health advantage. But chiefly, the length of the stab and the damage it does is underestimated, and in some cases just unknown by everyone. Well, most people. Well, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, just fire off the Pebble, that's fine. But then you can free aim the stab, go flying forward, and just catch people all day. It's so effective and so powerful, and honestly, probably weapon-wise, the most fun PvP I've had in Elden Ring. The only person it couldn't beat was Anakin fucking Skywalker. At that point, that's fair enough. Shout out to you. That was a really, really cool little bridge cosplay character invasion to run into. In any case, yeah, that's basically the situation there. So we have this build that combines together to make the Glintstone Kris a mere dagger, a absolute monstrous death-dealing machine. Obviously, we're not over here one-shotting bosses, we're not deleting them, we're not just, you know, pressing one incantation or one sorcery or bleeding or brokenly chewing our way through the game, but it's just really solid, right? It's 3,000 to 4,000 damage a combo at ranged, very quick, and it works exceptionally well. It's very comfortable, very easy to beat anything with this, and in PvP, it's just massively deadly. One of the best weapons, and that makes sense because Glintstone Pebble is one of the best tools in PvP. So this Kris version of it, which does even more damage and is just as easy to land, is obviously going to be just as good, even if you have to trade stagger for dash length and speed. So yeah, I definitely recommend this little thing, and in case, well, it didn't come across earlier, you get this from the end of the Sorceress Sellen questline if you side with her. She gives it you as as a reward. I will link my full guide to said questline down below if you would like to follow it if you've not already. It's definitely a fantastic one, it's a good story, and it's got a lot of good rewards beyond just this Glintstone Kris. In any case, yeah, if you've ever wondered just how good this little thing in its dart is, the answer is a lot better than you probably thought. Honestly, bottom line, it's just fantastic fun to dash that far and fast and couple that with such ridiculously awesome, solid damage when you get to the other end. It just feels great, and I absolutely love using this thing. Obviously, you can buff it up with your Golden Vow, or the Ash of War version as well, which I have done here. And to be fair, I would totally see a world in which you use the Glintstone Kris and a normal Glintstone Pebble weapon, and then you can swap between them depending on the situation. The Kris if you need damage, if you need the dash and the range, or the Pebble if you need the stagger. That is quite a nice little setup. In any case, I hope you've enjoyed my little look, my little experiment, my little build for this little weapon, and feel inspired to use it yourself. Like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss more tips, tricks, guides, funny bits, all that good stuff. And until we meet again, a goodbye. Also consider supporting the channel on Patreon down below. It means the world and keeps us going. Thank you. Goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.